Okay, so we got this Ridgid brand air compressor, gas-powered air compressor. Common problem that you guys are probably gonna have is this regulator will leak. When you turn it up, turn it down, and you go psss, you get a lot of air leaking out of the regulator itself. This one does that. I'm not gonna bore you and waste your time to show you it. Just know that it's broken and it leaks. So this regulator comes out real easy. You just take out these 4 T25 Torx on here and you remove this hose here. Quadruple check to make sure you have 0 pressure. Don't trust the gauge because it could be wrong. You want to open up these bleeders on the bottom. There's a bleeder on this side and a bleeder on that side. You open those up to drain out any water you might have in there, and the pressure will be gone too, or it'll relieve the pressure as well. Just be careful when you're doing that. Compressed air is extremely dangerous. So most likely what's causing your problem is a black wafer piece that's underneath this screw handle. And I'll show you how to get to that in a second. We're gonna go ahead and take the rest of it apart because we got a rebuild kit for this thing. We can take this nut out on the back. You can use, I called it a thimble piece, but it's kind of a spool piece. So this comes out, spring comes out, and then you have that piece in there. It should just pull out. There you go, it comes out, looks just like this. Now the harder part of this job is getting this little lock ring out of this groove. It's what kind of makes the handle click when you turn it. Fits in that groove just like that. It looks like this. I was able to get a small screwdriver, put it in one of the flutes like that, and turn the handle, and then after I did that I could push out on the spring. And then after I pushed out on it, I was able to grab it with a pick and pull it out of there. So then you'll find that the handle will not let you screw it all the way off, and it's because there's a pin in there that keeps it from threading all the way off. And it goes right in that hole, and then it hits up against the stop somewhere in the regulator. You can't see it in that frame, that's okay. So what I did to get that pin out was put this same little screwdriver down in there, and then I pried, and it was able to push the pin out just a little bit. Once I got that out far enough, I took this pick, put the pick in there, and pried on the back of the pin and pushed it out to where it stuck out proud of this side. And then from there, you can get a pair of pliers and just yank it out. Even with this crummy pair of pliers here, it came out pretty easy. Then you can screw the cap off. So then the cap screws off, you'll have a spring in here, and then this is your little plastic wafer disc thing. This one's pretty torn up, it's pretty much shot all together, but you can just pull this out with a pair of pliers or the pick, whatever you need, and it'll come out of there pretty easily. Worst case scenario, you can turn it upside down, maybe bang it on a table. So this is what the wafer looks like. I actually turned this thing upside down and pushed it out from the bottom. It's got this little piece that goes in the center here. That just pulls right out. This one's completely broken, so it's gonna look different. And it's got that little rubber seal on the bottom. And that's pretty much it. It's got a square cut seal that goes right here in the side, but this one's totally trash. So I bought this repair kit on Amazon. It's not for this. It's actually listed for a DeWalt, Craftsman, Porter cable. It says D55155, but the parts look a little bit different. As you can see, that looks, the caps look different. Here's the one in the kit. This one that came out of my unit, so that's probably not gonna work, even though I don't need that. This spring is different. That's okay. Don't need that spring, I don't believe. The spool piece is different. See how the head looks different? This one only has a seal at the top. This one has a seal that goes down the sides. They're pretty similar, but I'm not worried about any of those pieces. I'm worried about this guy, which you'll notice looks eerily similar. It's definitely the same size to the part that comes in the Porter cable. I said Porter cable, I meant the part that comes in the Ridgid. So this is the new piece, and this is our old broken piece. They look pretty similar. I think it's gonna work. We will find out. So here's a new piece out of the kit. Probably gonna be the only piece I'm gonna use out of that kit, but it was only $16.50. rather than a whole new regulator setup is about $110 right now. Or you can buy a repair kit for this. It runs about $25. I bought this kit on Amazon for $16.50, I believe, maybe $17. So you put the spring in the top after your wafer piece, screw that on. Then we're going to put our original spool piece, because it looks like the new one is different. I don't want to use it. Back in here, how it goes. Spring. Cap. We're going to put this thing back on the unit and see if it works for us. Last thing I want to say is when you spin this back on, spin it down, past the stop, and put this pin back in. You want to make sure you have that pin in. If you don't have that pin in, you could potentially thread this off until the whole thing comes apart, and it's going to blast off in your face and potentially kill you. So that would be bad. Make sure you put the pin back in. And then once you got the pin in, make sure this will not allow you to thread it all the way off before you even put it back on the unit. So I took that pin and hammered it back in. And now when I try to screw it off all the way, oh, that's the wrong way. It hits that positive stop. That's what you want. Make sure you put the pin back in. Okay, just to show you the results, we got this thing ran, got it pressure back up, everything's reinstalled, 125 pounds. And let's see if our regulator works now. Turn it down, crank it down, pressure goes up. No leaks. Turn it back down. Just gonna let off that little bit of excess pressure, but seems to be working well now. All you need is that little black wafer. I believe this regulator, they have it listed as a Campbell Hausfeld, or however you say that. But the part that comes for the rebuild kit for those other brands I listed, Ridgid, Porter Cable, I can't remember what the other one was. Anyway, works good now.